Good to see you. I have something I want to share with you that I think is important. It's an issue that I think is important, period. Of course, we now have a new Secretary of Health and Human Resources, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's got certain ideas that are quite different from previous secretaries about these things, and there's a good reason for it, and I'll discuss that to a degree. But I think it's really important for us to think about how we're taking care of ourselves and what we're putting into our bodies. And I've really been looking at this very uh, in a serious way now for years, frankly. I mean, I don't mean my whole life. Well, I've to a degree, but I've not been a health nut. Let's put it that way. But I do think that this is God created this body, and it's His temple, and I've got to take care of it, right? So in that regards, I need to take care of it. I'm not taking care of it because I want to live forever. I'm not interested in living forever. I'm just interested in taking care of it so it's in the best shape it can be while I've got it. If you got a 56 Chevy, it does you no good if it's sitting up on the blocks in your front yard. You need to have it running smoothly and have no problems with it so that you can enjoy driving it around, etc. So that's the way it is. If you're not taking care of your 56 Chevy, then you need to get on board, baby. So, I've had, I'm not an anti-vax person. Uh, and Robert F. Kennedy's not anti-vax if you listen to him talk. But uh, I think that we've gone way too far with what we're doing with vaccinations. It's senseless. It's pointless. It is a little bit very scary, in fact. And if you listen to, since I'm interested in trying to find things out, what's good for health, I'm willing to listen to people talk about things. And I remember I had a what do you call it? Uh, Class isn't exactly the word for it, but when I was in theology school, I had a some kind of class. It wasn't a class. Well, it was and it wasn't. I had to go. We would meet about it. I would write papers on it. But I spent time in a mental health facility. I mean, a place with people where I had to be for my sort of reflection on ministry was with some severely retarded kind of people. When I retarded, I don't mean that in a negative way. It's not positive, obviously. And I remember there was one young man who, these people couldn't talk to me. They would beat their. You've seen people wearing helmets on their heads sometimes, because they would beat their heads against the wall just for stimulation. Uh, Maybe out of frustration. Wouldn't you, if you could not talk to anybody and get them to understand what you're saying, wouldn't you want to beat your head against the wall sometimes? Anyway, so these kind of things do leave a lasting impression. And what's scary, uh, was that guy autistic? I'm not sure what he was. There were multiple people. I was in a facility with 15, 20 people, and I'd go in and share with them and work with them. Of course, what do? You can't. Talking to them does no good. They're not talking back to you. Um, so, but it's very scary that today the rate of autism is just exploding. Now, why? Is it because you're eating too many chips? Well, eating too many chips may be a problem, but I don't think it's the autism problem, okay? Having too many ice cream cones, that's not good for you. But there's something else going on, and there's a very strong correlation that is apparent between children who get vaccines and then they become autistic right off the bat. And there's some people who health experts who work with this and have actually brought some people out through their autism, brought them out of it, and they do it through um, things like vitamins and etc. I'm not an expert on it. I'm just trying to give you a sense of what they do. They're not injecting them with petroleum-based drugs the way you and I are injecting ourselves, claiming to be trying to have good health. Does that even make sense? To take petroleum, Would you eat petroleum jelly? Come on. But they've conned us. If you don't think you're conned, well, I mean, if you are conned, we've all been conned. Everybody's buying into this. There's so many people who I come across as I listen to them have conversations, because these people get together on different podcasts and stuff and talk about their experiences and other big experiences and doctors' experiences with their patients and things like this. And it's tragic. It's tragic. And obviously these people are going, wait a second, we drank the Kool-Aid because we thought vaccines were good for everybody. And then our children got autism. Now, that's just one thing. That's not the many things. They don't do double-blind studies on these things anymore. Since the 80s, they haven't been doing. Your drug company will tell you they're doing some kind of study. Okay, your drug company tells you what they want to about their vaccine that they're selling. Okay. But they're not doing these open things where, people who have no relationship to the drug company are doing these double-blind studies so that they can see. And this is one of the things that is great to me about what RFK is wanting to do. I'm not trying to get political. I'm just telling you that he's looking to do this now, doing these double-blind studies about all kind of medications and vaccines and things. Okay, this is smart. This is good science. And I base my life very much on science. Okay? Sometimes you have to do some things by faith, but you need to at least admit that you're doing it by faith and not lie to yourself that the faith that you are doing is science, because it ain't for a lot of people. A lot of people think they're being scientific and they're just lying to themselves. They're not being scientific. These drug companies aren't being scientific. Well, they're using science to come up with this petroleum-based stuff, but once again, do you want to eat petroleum jelly? Do you want to inject petroleum jelly? I mean, if somebody told you that would be healthy to do, would you really want to do it, or would you rather go and find some natural substance from a tree or a plant, etc., and try that out before you shoot yourself up with petroleum jelly? Okay. So they don't want to do double-blind studies because it would reveal a lot of these adverse effects that they're not telling anybody. Okay. So I'm over 60. Do I look it? And, a few years ago, I'm not crazy about vaccines. I'm not really crazy about getting a needle jabbed into me. I mean, I do it. You go get blood test. You do it when you have to. But it's not something I look forward to. And, but I remember the doctor saying, hey, it's time for flu shots and things. You ought to get a flu shot. And at the time, my doctor wasn't actually giving the flu shots themselves. Okay, the doctor I was going to at the time wasn't providing the flu shot. So I needed to go to CVS or Walgreens or something to get a flu shot. And I just sort of, I think I'm going to do that. I'll do that this week, but I was always putting it off. And so I remember I missed doing the flu shot when I was going to do it, and I went in the next year. And I had a discussion with the pharmacist or the nurse there with the pharmacist, and they told me how great the flu shot was and what it does for you, and blah blah blah. And as you know, vaccines are actually the actual flu, right? Or it's last year's flu, right? It's not the upcoming flu. It's last year's disease. But ostensibly, it's supposed to help your body become strong because it's going to fight the old flu, then it'll be a little bit better in shape to fight the new flu. And I'm not saying there's not some truth in that, okay? I'm just not sure that's necessary anyway. But what really got me is I came in, I went in the next year, and I said, well, I'm thinking about getting my flu shot. And the nurse said to me, well, yes, this flu shot is that one last year wasn't all that good, but this flu shot is really good. Now, what I want to know is, how does she know this flu shot is really good? How many people have taken it? Do you really know? How does she know it's really good? No, this was the line. This is the corporate line. This is what they tell you. They go to everybody holds seminars now, right? They hold seminars in all kind of companies, in all kind of situations. They educate you about what they want you to think, their official line. And I've been to so many of these kind of things in my life by now. They tell you what is their truth, okay? Now, I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying they're calling it truth. Anyway, so this nurse thought, oh yeah, this is better. Well, you know what? It just struck me. Oh, it's better? You mean you said it was good last year, and this year is that wasn't all that good? This year is really a good one. Well, why should I trust that? Why I was supposed to trust the one last year. Take shingles. I don't want to. I'm not taking the shingles. Guess what? You've got the shingles. If you've had chicken pox, or smallpox, whichever. I think it was chicken pox. Then you've got the shingles in you. Well, guess what? Yes, I do. Everybody does. What does that mean? Has everybody always gotten shingles? I didn't even know what shingles was until very, very recently. And I assure you that I've had good reason to be just scared to death because my father, when he was in his late 80s, had a terrible, terrible case of shingles. It was up and down his back. It was terrible. My wife has had shingles, just a small episode. Guess what? You know why you get shingles? Because your body's so daggone run down. What are they doing to keep your body in good shape? Do we not know that the way we do agriculture today, that we're wearing out our soils? There's the minerals that used selenium, magnesium, whatever, the minerals you used to get in soils, you don't get these days. They're worn out soils. They pump nitrogen into our agricultural fields so that things grow really fast. They modify the genetics of plants so that things go really fast and get really big. But everybody, you can talk to anybody who wants to talk about nutrition. Everybody knows that the food we're eating today is not nutritious. Okay? You got to go you got to make big effort to make sure you're getting something nutritious. And because I'm not going to go through all that effort, guess what the effort I make is? I take vitamins. I take magnesium. I take selenium, etc., etc. I had a problem with sores in my mouth. I do a little bit of study and research. Guess what? You getting a lot of sores in your mouth? Try B-complex vitamin. My grandson had a problem with sores in his mouth. I said, honey, give him some B-complex vitamin. Take your vitamins. Vitamin K, guess what? Vitamin K, your children are getting shots. Infants are getting shots. Now, come on. Infants for eternity now have been getting all of these shots as soon as they're born. And one of those is K. Well, K2, this is a particular K. K2 affects the way your bones in your mouth grow. So a lot of the dental problems that our children this is an epidemic these days. There wasn't one with me growing up. Anybody know anybody who had all terrible problems with your teeth and everything when you were really? No, we didn't hear about that kind of stuff. That's because our diets don't have enough K2 in them. So give your kids K2. You take K2 and have a stronger mouth, etc. There's all kind. You can do your own. I'm not trying to teach you everything about nutrition. I'm trying to raise awareness that what they're telling you, what big business provides to us through processed foods that have no food, that have, what was it? I was watching something the other day, and it pointed out that, hey, you know what's really a carcinogen that's terrible for your body? It's XYZ. I don't even remember the name of it. And it's created by heating up proteins and sugars. And it turns into this particular carcinogen. And so when you pick up your food and you read the label on your food, it doesn't say anything about it, because guess what? That was never added to your food. It was just created in the processing of your food. It's the processing of your food that is killing you. So we eat all these processes. I don't need to get deep into processed foods. If you're eating processed foods, stop it. Of course you are. I do too. But I try to avoid it. I eat a lot more meat, And I don't eat cereal. I don't eat breads. Very, very little bread. I try to avoid things. I love a French fry, so I eat French fries sometimes. But the oils and things. If you're gonna eat a French fry and you're making it yourself, get tallow. Get a real oil. Don't use these sunflower oil or anything or corn oil to fry in. That's what creates this carcinogen. The sugars, the carbohydrates are sugars, and they become this carcinogen as you fry your food. Nobody's telling you this, are they? Because they're selling you stuff. And we're just sitting there going, oh, I deserve it. The TV commercial, when I watch it, tells me I deserve it. So I should eat this. It'll make me feel better. Okay, so anyway, they're not doing this. So, as I said, my doctor tells me to get a flu shot. Now, I've pretty much told my doctor very sternly what I think about vaccines. And one reason I'm very stern about it is the mRNA component that's in these new vaccines. These new vaccines, and it's all kind of vaccines, all kind of medications have this mRNA in it. Avoid it. Read the labels. Stay away from it. I had a procedure in the hospital, an outpatient procedure this past year. I went in and I just let them know. And these things that I'm signing, I write on there. I'm writing on that. I don't want any mRNA. No mRNA. I'm documenting it somewhere. Okay. If I get come down with blood clots or other kind of things, I'll be suing. Okay? I'm not a suing kind of guy. But when I tell you to your face, do not stick that in my body, and you do it, now we're going to go to court, buddy. If I live. Okay. So, I'm trying to look at my notes here. We've got adverse impacts that we're not seeing because there's not double-blind studies. Don't let your doctor twist your, that's what I was getting to. Don't let your doctor twist your arm. Every time I go to the doctor, because it's a corporate responsibility for my doctor is part of a corporation. He's not a guy sitting in an office all by himself, not related to anybody. No, he works for a big corporation, and they want you to take that dadgum shot, and they get a kickback because you get that shot. Okay? This is what you understand. All this crap they're putting into your body, a lot of it, they get kickbacks. And then there's the other thing is there's a standard of care, okay? So these big drug companies, the medical companies, they get things included in standard of care, okay? Even if it's killing you, it's included in your standard of care. And it's very difficult to avoid their standard of care because they're going to cram it down your throat. All right? So that's part of their problem. My doctor is being a good guy. He's doing standard of care. He's doing what his corporation tells him to do. And he says to us every time we go in, so do you want to get your flu shot? Now, he's heard me tell him no multiple times. All right? Because after that nurse at CVS, at least 5 years ago, if it was not longer, gave me that answer, the cogs in my brain started working. I got real smart all of a sudden. mRNA stuff is in, there's blood clots that they are finding in sharks because the stuff is going into our body, and then some of it is going down the drain and is sending up into the oceans, and this is human manipulated stuff. In fact, if you really want to be worried about something, this is not good for the world. This is bad news. And hopefully they've got some answer to it we're going to be saved from it, because it's sort of like just like AI. If the wrong AI gets in charge of the world, we're up the creek. Okay, so Elon Musk is hoping that the good AI was going to be running the world. He wants it to run the world. I'm not crazy about that. Anyway, so read the ingredients of your medications, foods. Many of them, particularly the pill that you're taking, read the ingredients or the injection you're getting. Something that you think is helping you out with something. It may have the Marburg virus. It may have Ebola. It's just all kind of trash is in a lot of the medications we take. And we're just taking it. Think about this. It's not like You know, I take a Tylenol once in a blue moon for some pain. But I take my blood pressure medication every day. Every day I'm putting that stuff. If that's got mercury or heavy metals in it or something like that, I'm putting that into my body every day. That's not to speak of the mercury or the heavy metals that's probably on the fruit and vegetables I'm eating, you know. So anyway, that's a whole another video. There's other videos that we can talk about how we might address this problem with heavy metals and stuff. But so what's going to happen? Well, there's a guy that I was watching the other day. His name's Todd Callender. He formerly worked with the healthcare industries. He dealt with vaccines, and it was his work in that. He's a lawyer. It was his work pushing vaccines in Cuba, I think it was, and other places, that he finally realized the corruption about it all, and so he's like an advocate against it. And he has a lot to say about it. Some of what I've just shared with you does come from him. But you know, he asked, why are vaccines like hepatitis in children's vaccine, the vaccine that your child gets as soon as it gets born, within a few days, hepatitis? What? That's a virus that you might get if you're a drug addict and you're sharing needles. Your child is not sharing needles. Is the problem the hospital isn't clean? Is that, if that's the problem, then we don't need to be going to the hospital. You better start having your baby at home, right? So what? Why? Well, somebody's making some money. Somebody's happy about it. You don't need it. Your child doesn't need it. So, you know, and there's other substances that I can't remember. I've watched multiple videos about with various people talking about these things, all the junk that's in all these vaccines, and the rate of vaccines that have just skyrocketed for children and everything. I mean, how many vaccines did you take? You know, I've had very few vaccines. You know, measles, chickenpox, or whatever. You know, that kind of stuff. But now there's just piles and piles, and they doing more and more and more and more too. And some of the vaccines that infants are getting are vaccines that are for teenager-aged kids. So what are they giving them to them when they're little kids, little baby infants? This is not good. Our problem is, to a large degree, is that our regulators are captured. This is what you hear RFK complaining about too. Is that we've got to clean this up. These guys who work for the drug company, or they're a doctor, and they work for a while in government, and then they go work for the drug company, and then they make $100 zillion for the drug company. You know, it's no difference than politicians who vote for a bill, and then they retire from politics, and then they go on their tour, and they write books, and they make millions of dollars writing a book that nobody cares about, and they make, you know, $500,000 a speech or something. It's all crooked. We know it's crooked, and we just sort of let's just turn the other way. We're not going to look at the reality, but we have all this crookedness all around us with people getting paid off all the time. It's really easy whenever you're getting your hands, your palms greased with money. It's real easy to say, well, you know, I guess double-blind studies aren't all that important. I guess we really don't need to. I guess it's okay to give infants vaccines. I guess it's okay to give old people vaccines that have mRNA in them that has a spike protein that creates blood clots. You need to go look this stuff up yourself. There's plenty about it. The problem is, if you're not a MAGA person or a right-wing nut, then you might be turned off. Because those are the only people talking about it. Because the people who don't want to know the truth have drank the Kool-Aid and they continue to drink the Kool-Aid, and they want their Kool-Aid, and they just don't want to admit truth. So it's hard to find. Jimmy Dore is, occasionally you'll have somebody like that. Jimmy Dore, who was clearly not a conservative, who had some few things happen with him, and it opened his eyes. Okay, so somebody like go watch Jimmy Dore, and he'll rant. He was a comedian. He is a comedian. He doesn't sound like a comedian to me. He sounds like a commentator to me these days. I knew nothing about him other than I guess I'd heard from him. Occasionally you'll run across somebody who used to be all Mr. Hug the trees and eat your vegetables persons who are opening their eyes. And I would be one of those people. Okay. So there are things that you can take. I mean, look, if you get sick, there's stuff that the ivermectin works, that hydrochloroquine, however you say the word, something like chlorine dioxide works for some things. I think the fenbenzitol or something is good for cancer and some other kind of things. Antiparasitics work on various things. There's stuff out there that are natural kind of medicines made from natural things, not from petroleum-based chemicals, etc. That that can help you. And the first thing you can do is to take plenty. Let's see, you need to take vitamin C and D, plenty of it. You need zinc because those two the D won't work without zinc. You need magnesium. You need some selenium probably. I take a B complex, and that does me good because why? Well, I learned that obviously I was depleted in B vitamins because once I started taking that, man, the sores I had in my mouth, boop, no more, brother. Okay? You need to stop eating seed oils. I had a great bout of problem with gout until I stopped eating seed oils. No more gout. Okay? It causes inflammation in your body. There's things you can do. That means you don't take ibuprofen or Tylenol all the time. You don't take all these medications etc. You need to do your own research if you care about getting healthy. But there's things you can do if you care about it, and you don't want to just let people shove stuff down your throat, which ultimately is a death wish, and you don't even know it. So I'm going to list down below. I'm gonna list the conversation with Todd Callender down below. These guys, they lean to the right. Ignore the lean to the right stuff and just listen to the various medical points that they make. Okay. It could be, especially as you get toward maybe jump to the halfway through. I don't know. I can't remember everything in there. So I'm gonna leave that. There's some other things. Dr. Lee Vliet has a foundation called Truth for Health Foundation. They sell different kind of things, but you might can catch her talking, Lee Vliet, and just listen to her talk. And because she says a lot of good things. Now, again, she's a conservative. If you're a liberal, you may not like her conservative viewpoints. But she's, we're talking about health here. It doesn't matter what your politics are. So you need to learn to take care of yourself. So anyway, I've said enough. I'm going to let you go. The reason I'm telling you stuff is that I'm seeking the truth all the time. That's me. I don't mean to say that I sometimes am fooled. You can be deceived. It's really easy to be deceived because you want to be deceived. Tell me that ice cream is good for me. That's a good thing for me to hear. I'm going to eat more ice cream, right? So we need to watch out with what we believe because a lot of it is a lie. It's just half truth, half truth, and the other is lie, and it'll kill you. But seek truth. If you are seeking truth, if you pray to your Creator, help you find the truth, I'm pretty confident you'll find it. Have a good day.